All right, guys, we're going to get started on the show in a matter of moments. Do me a favor and hit that like button and share it to your friends. A lot we're going to cover on today's program. Give it a like, give it a share, give it a like, give it a share. Anywhere you are watching. We'll talk about that UVA basketball game last night. Did you guys watch the game? Tough game, tough loss to Florida State. Florida State came ready to play. Florida State was hungry right out of the locker room. Virginia, what's the best win of the season for the Wahoos? Best win of the season for UVA basketball. Is it the Clemson win at Clemson? Now remember, the Tigers were coming off a COVID pause when UVA steamrolled them. We'll talk about the Wahoo basketball team, and I'm going to ask you this question. Are you ready? This is the question I'm going to ask you. Is the University of Virginia men's basketball team a Final Four caliber basketball team? I want to talk about that today on the I Love Seville show. I also want to talk some highlights from the interview we did with Lloyd Snook. We'll play some of those highlights today on the show. Give you an update on the Market Street parking garage, Albemarle County, West Main Streetscape. And guys, the credit card policy we've been talking about for about a week, 8 days on this show, is on the agenda tonight for City Council. We'll talk about that on the program. Judah Wickhauer is our director, my friend. I'm feeling good. We can start when you're ready, Judah. Guys, welcome to the I Love Seville show. My name is Jerry Miller. It's good to be with you on a Tuesday. We're live in Charlottesville, the Commonwealth, the country, and the world. On the I Love Seville network, we're presented by Ting Fiber Internet. Crazy fast internet powers this network. We have the best deal possible for Ting only through this link, iloveseville.ting.com, iloveseville.ting.com, and you can save $288 on the best internet in Central Virginia, and it's not even close. Not only does it power the network, but it powers our building, the Macklin building on Market Street, and the tenants that use that internet. All right, so a lot to cover on the show. Lloyd Snook was on yesterday's program. Lloyd was authentic and honest and transparent. And it's clear that our city councilors, Lloyd and Michael Payne, are doing the best they can to be transparent with their thinking and how they're going about their decision making. Michael Payne wrote a column for Charlottesville Tomorrow a couple of weeks ago, about 2-3 weeks ago. Lloyd is now doing much more frequent updates on his social media. Yesterday, he spent about 40 minutes with us. I'm going to play a sizzle reel from the interview with Lloyd about creating or rebuilding that trust in local government again. The folks that are on the dais know that they have to rebuild trust in this community. And I want you to hear it from the horse's mouth for one of the 5 people that are leading this town, leading this city. We also should talk about the Market Street parking garage. We should talk about the West Main Streetscape project and potentially a new credit card policy on the horizon for Charlottesville government and its employees. Tonight is a city council meeting, and on the agenda, which is public record, which I'm looking at now, on the agenda for the 6:30 meeting for city council is credit card policy. That is a direct reflection of this network and the attention that we brought to a policy that is clearly very ambiguous and leaves a lot from what can we do standpoint. So let me put that to a side for now. First, I'd like to relay this sizzle reel from Lloyd Snook. And Judah, if you can get that ready to go. Judah Wickhauer is our fabulous director. This is from Councilor Snook on yesterday's show about trust and rebuilding that trust in local government. Judah, if you could play that for me in 3, in 2, in 1. What do you think are the current optics for leadership, and how do we change those optics? Because I get all the time, and I know you do too, people constantly saying, what's going on? How do we change the what's going on narrative?
Well, I hope that one of the things, I I was just beginning to think that maybe we were going to be able to get down to governing,
And then Super Bowl Sunday.
and then this whole thing blows
Yeah.
up. I hope we will be able to, one way or another, move beyond it to get to this kind of very difficult. I mean, when we're talking about millions of dollars, the future of the city economy.
You're talking about real stuff.
We're talking about real stuff.
Yeah, but the other stuff, the pomp and circumstance, if you call it the pomp and circumstance, whatever you want to call Super Bowl Sunday was, the collateral damage of that is the word trust.
Right.
That's the problem, is the trust word.
Right. And
that's only human.
And I completely get that. And I'm not, I'm not going to get back into sort of through the back door into that discussion. But ultimately, I think that council will need to earn the trust of the people, and they will need to earn it by doing and not by fussing. And once we start doing, things will look better.
Thank you. I would like to see.
All right, so that's Lloyd Snook yesterday on the I Love Seville show, and I'm grateful for Councilor Snook for coming on this program, clearly indicating, look, we need to do proof of performance and rebuild the trust that's been lost. And you heard it here from Councilor Snook. Still to come on the show, we'll have Onware Allen from Allen's famous shortbreads. I mean, this guy has just got a fantastic shortbread company, Allen's Scottish Shortbreads. We'll also have Alex Erpy, co-host and co-star of Today y Mañana, on the program to spotlight his show on Thursday that is just booming in popularity, Today y Mañana, Thursdays at 10:15 a.m. on the I Love Seville network. Now, a couple of items I want to talk or reflect upon. I watched yesterday's show twice to fully absorb what the interview with Lloyd Snook was conveying to us. And I want to highlight this aspect of the interview. So we know that Councilor Snook is an attorney. And Councilor Snook is in the courthouse all the time. Colleagues and friends, runs in the circles of lawyers. And when he first got into office, Councilor Snook was kind of following the letter of the deal between Albemarle County and Charlottesville City with the keeping the courthouses downtown and building this garage. He was going to lead by honoring this contract to the letter of the law, to the letter of the deal, like saying, this is what we got to do. We have an arrangement in place. Remember, he's an attorney as well, and he's in the game of law. So these are his colleagues he's interacting with constantly. Yesterday on the show, and also on his Lloyd Snook for City Council Facebook page, he offered perspective that said, look, I'm an attorney by trade. My colleagues and friends are lawyers, are in this law business, whether judges or they're on the supply chain of the courthouse somehow. I know I'm probably going to get some heat from this from my colleagues that are in the law game or in the attorney space of some capacity. But perhaps we don't need this garage anymore on Market Street. And when he's offering this perspective yesterday on the show, I was, impressed, because here's a guy who's taking himself out of the equation, lawyer, friends who are lawyers, his wife was a judge, in the space of law and being an attorney, and he's going against what's probably popular in his network or his social network and saying, maybe we don't need this garage after all. Let's assess what COVID has done to the marketplace. So here's what we have to ask ourselves. If the garage is in fact not built by November 30th, 2023, what is the fallout of that? What is the collateral damage? What's going to transpire? What's going to happen? Well, according to the deal, Albemarle County will get some spots in the Market Street garage. Albemarle County will have an opportunity to get it some land back over here on Market Street. And maybe the plan of attack is to just say, if you don't build the garage, this is what Albemarle gets. And I think in some ways that's leadership, right? The leadership you're seeing is a guy whose social network would certainly want this garage to come to fruition, but who instead is saying, let's hold up on maybe building this garage And let's utilize that money in other places perhaps, because COVID's changed the game. Now, if you're Albemarle County leadership, in particular if you're Ann Malik, the longest tenured supervisor on the Board of Supervisors, you have to ask, how is Ann going to respond to this? If the city of Charlottesville chooses not to build this garage, and if the garage is not built by November 30 of 2023, what does Albemarle do? What does that do with the relationship with Albemarle and Charlottesville? From my standpoint, and I'm just trying to read the tea leaves, you would think both leadership groups, the council and the Board of Supervisors, will say, look, something we never expected happened in COVID-19, and perhaps we have to adjust this deal that we have in place to accommodate a once-in-a-generation, a once-in-a-lifetime, a once-in-a-century pandemic that we never planned for when this deal was consummated. That's a sticky and slippery slope right there. But that's the predicament they're in. And another predicament we're in is this streetscape project that he covered yesterday on the show. You're talking a 50 million plus project for a little over 1 mile of road that is West Main. Now I'm going to ask you this. In the city of Charlottesville, what is the most important road in Charlottesville, Virginia? You can make a straight up argument that it's the downtown mall, but the downtown mall is a pedestrian mall. So in this particular argument, this particular conversation, you have to take the downtown mall out of the equation because it's pedestrian and cars cannot go on it. So what is the most important road that vehicles are on in the city of Charlottesville? The most important road in the city of Charlottesville that vehicles are on. It's probably the West Main. It's probably West Main and the stretch between the UVA corner or the University of Virginia and the downtown mall and the Lewis and Clark and Sacagawea statue. That 1 mile, 2 mile stretch is the most important road in the city of Charlottesville. Why is it the most important road? Because it connects UVA to downtown. It connects the epicenter of employment, the downtown. It connects the epicenter of employment, which is the University of Virginia, to the crown jewel of the city, which is the 8 blocks that are the downtown mall. I'll repeat that. West Main is the most important road or corridor or thoroughfare in the city of Charlottesville, city limits, because it connects the epicenter of employment, the University of Virginia, to the crown jewel of the city, which is the downtown mall. And in that stretch of land, that stretch of road, which is what? Less than 2 miles. Less than 2 miles. You can make a legitimate argument that you're seeing tourists on that road, seeing Charlottesville for the first time. UVA parents on that road, dropping their kids off, taking their kids out to dinner for the first time. Locals up and down that road. How about bikers and walkers up and down that road? How about public transportation up and down that road? And to give you the Cliff Notes version of what happened yesterday with the West Main Streetscape project, this project is over $50 million. Roughly 20 million of this project, roughly 20 of this 50 million is being contributed by the University of Virginia and the Commonwealth of Virginia. And Councilor Snook is in favor of going forward with this project because of the matching money and because of the importance of the corridor and because of the lack of safety for pedestrians and bikers alike. So I'm going to say it again. I think the most important election we have had in Charlottesville, Virginia history is going to be on November 3rd of 2021. You have 2 spots that are open for grabs. You have a $50 million plus West Main Streetscape project. You have a $10 to $13 million Market Street garage project and the collateral damage that could arise from not building that garage with the relationship between the city and the county of Albemarle. You have school reconfiguration, the effort for a city manager and what they're going to do, if they're going to do it, to opening a national search for a city manager. You have the fallout of COVID-19 and the lack of tax revenue associated with it. You still have the wealth gap that is expanding in the city. The wealth gap is getting large. I learned this on Real Talk this morning. I'm going to give you a statistic, okay? The median sales price for active listings in the city of Charlottesville from a real estate standpoint. Median. Do you know what the median sales price for active listings in the city of Charlottesville is right now? The median is in the $500,000 window. Median has a 5 in front of it for active listings in the city of Charlottesville right now. The wealth gap and the affordability aspect of living in this town, it's getting less affordable. It's costing more to live here than ever before. All these reasons are a legitimate outline of why this is the most important election in Charlottesville history. Now, another topic that we need to cover before we welcome Anwar Allen to the program is and I'm going to stick to facts on this one here. Tonight, on the agenda posted on charlottesville.gov, you go to charlottesville.gov. I'm on this website all the time. And once you go to charlottesville.gov, go to the menu bar on the side and click Agendas. So you go to the menu bar on the side and you first click Government up top. And then when you click Government up top, go to City Council and click Agendas and Minutes. And then on the drop-down, make sure you get the agendas and minutes for tonight's council meeting at 6:30. Remember, there's a closed-door session before the meeting at 6:30 where the councilors are talking amongst themselves. But at the 6:30 agenda, you see the credit card policy on the agenda. Tonight, I think we will have a conversation on the record, the 5 councilors, about what transpired on Super Bowl Sunday. When the mayor said she used the credit cards, city-issued credit cards, to compensate public speakers and to compensate other folks that contributed ideas to local government. $25 an hour paid to these people, these folks, in gift cards from the mayor. So what can we expect from the meeting today? Here's my prediction, okay? This is my prediction. I predict that newly minted city manager Chip Boyles and city council are going to revamp this credit card policy because of the Super Bowl Sunday commentary from Mayor Walker. I predict the credit card policy will be much more clear-cut of what you can and cannot do. I predict that credit card policy will be clear-cut in ramifications if you don't follow the rules. All that being said, the current policy is so vague and leaves so much room for interpretation. And there's so many other people associated with this potential misuse of funds that this misappropriation will be a thing of the past after today's meeting. The misappropriation that was revealed on Super Bowl Sunday will be the catalyst for a revamped policy. But that misappropriation that was revealed on Super Bowl Sunday will not have criminal charges follow it unless someone from a federal standpoint chooses to do it. The local Commonwealth's attorney, Joe Plantini, is not going to do it. He's not going to do it because the current policy is vague. He's not going to do it because he's in an election year. He's not going to do it because of the PR or the collateral damage that would come from a PR nightmare of bringing charges essentially against the mayor. So my prediction is the Super Bowl Sunday commentary from the mayor will translate into a revamped policy that is very clear-cut of what you can and cannot do. And then this will be beyond us. And then we go forward. Let's see what happens. It'll be something we talk about on tomorrow's program, undoubtedly. We still have Alex Erpy on today's show, and we have to talk UVA basketball. The Who's were hammered by Florida State last night. Leonard Hamilton's team looks nasty. I mean, loaded with athletes. We'll talk about that. And I want to ask the question, is the University of Virginia men's basketball team a Final Four team? That's a good question. I'm still up and high on this team. I'm still very optimistic on this team. But I think it's important to emphasize, really the only quality win they have on the schedule right now is the road win at Clemson. Maybe Georgia Tech, but the road win at Clemson's the best win they got on the schedule so far. I'm reaching out to Anwar Allen, Allen Scott of Shortbreads. Very excited to welcome him on the program. We have him on the line. My first, Anwar, thank you kindly for joining us. My wife, when letting her know that you were coming on the show, she watches the show closely. She was excited to hear this because she thought that you were very human and like honest with how some of the challenges you were facing from a school standpoint. I got you, Anwar. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me? You're good. I got you. You got me? You're on air.
Oh, no.
Okay. I'll try giving you a ring back, Anwar, if you can hear this. We'll try giving him a ring back. Judah, do you have his cell number?
I had it set.
Why don't you reach out to him and say, we'll try calling him back via cell if you could. I can hear you, Anwar, if you can hear me. You're good, man. You're on air. I don't think he can hear me either. All right, Anwar, we're going to try to reach you back. Send him a message, Judah, that we're going to try to reach him back in 30 seconds, please. Alex Erpy, in 18 minutes on the show. Alex's program, Today y Mañana, airs on Thursdays at 10:15 a.m. He and Xavier, his father, have just a phenomenal dynamic. This show has got already sponsorship and followers. And I think Thursday's program, I believe he's bringing on Johnny Ornalis. We'll ask him about that in a matter of moments. But I very much encourage you to tune into that show Thursdays at 10:15 on the I Love Steven Network. All right, Anwar, we got you, man. How are you?
Jeez.
You're live, Anwar. Can you hear me, man?
I heard the ring, and it actually chimed in and everything.
Okay, fantastic. Let's talk.
I can't hear you.
Oh, you can't hear me? How about chat?
I heard you guys earlier on the. You guys can hear me though, right?
Oh, we can hear you just fine. Yeah, give us an update on your business. How's your business doing?
I'll just go without the audio then. Ooh.
All right, we're gonna have to figure out if you're gonna bang out this interview, if we're gonna go to Alex.
I can hear you. I can hear
fantastic.
you now. I don't know what's going on, but I can hear you now.
Okay, great. How's everything going with you?
Things are good. We've been baking. We've been trying to keep up with the demand. There's actually been a demand. It's actually interesting. This year has been the craziest year we've ever had. Going back to March up until now. I mean, we didn't know what was going on until we came back from Florida. Interestingly enough, back in March. So ever since then, it's just been us just trying to keep up. Trying to keep up with what's going on. So every month has been different, but we've been able to kind of, Laura's really good at kind of game planning, figuring out what's going on, trying to understand, the market. I myself as well. We both grew up in entrepreneurial background, so we can kind of see trends, and we can understand what's happening. And we've tried to make the best moves. Obviously, you don't hit a home run every time. Early on, it was grants. Looking at that, and then seeing how we could pivot and get new stores and try to keep the ones we had. So it's been us just fortunately being in the right place at the right time.
How's school going with your kids? Give us what are you guys doing now? How are your kids learning now?
So they're learning. Okay, so two of our kids are actually learning.
Okay.
One of our kids, our other is two. So she's learning quite a bit. She's growing leaps and bounds. But we're not doing anything systematic for her. My 13-year-old is actually in a class with me. So I have a pod. I'm not sure what the technical term is. COVID-19. Everybody's got their own thing going on. But two of my kids, my kid and another kid, is a homeschool kid. And they've been in the CC curriculum, classical conversation curriculum, for a while. And then classical curriculum in general has been nationwide and worldwide for a long time. So honestly, I just jumped into something that was ongoing already. And then one of my kids actually jumped out of public school. We were talking about it. I know when we were talking about it, we were just, everything was up in the air, and who knew what was going to happen. But one of my parents basically said that they were in I don't want to put his name out there, but the kid was on the computer all day, and he wasn't getting anything out of it. And plus, he was missing some of that social interaction. So it's a real small class, and I'm basically a middle school teacher. I teach logic, which is math. I teach Latin, which is grammar. I teach research, which is science, and then we do cartography, and then and they have a lot of fun. I mean, they do all their work ahead of time, and then the day that we meet, it's only one day a week. We go over their homework, go over their problem sets, whatever it might be. We just did a science fair, which was cool. So, it's a little different than a typical homeschool setting because of the fact that you're actually getting to interact with people, and then there is something that kind of brings in this sort of school feel, which is, you have teachers, you have a set place to go to. We're meeting at a church, but others are meeting at, other public places. So it's been real cool. It's been a wild ride, and I'm probably going to do it again next year.
Wow. Okay. So you're going to do this again next year?
Yeah. I mean, I tried to jump off the ride. Laura was like, she asked me, and actually the director, she said, "What are you going to do?" And I was like, I think we could just send her right back to school, because I just felt like I was just going to get in, do one good year to get her back, throw her back into the fray. But we noticed that she was actually thriving. She liked being, on her own, doing her own studies. She admitted to me, she loves the school that she was in, but she admitted to me that she actually felt like she could go at her own pace. With certain subjects, she could go ahead. She could read ahead. She could learn more. She can kind of do a little background. She's really interested in history and in world maps and socioeconomic, connections and stuff like that. So she really went after that. And then, math, she's fine with just kind of going with the book that's there. And so she felt like she was thriving, and Laura was like, I think she's doing really well, and it's going to be hard for us to send her back into something that she wasn't completely, down with anyway. So, I mean, every kid's different. I understand, some kids are, for instance, we can go on about the education system. I listened to a podcast about a book, and it's talking about the commercialism or the consumerism of education. And so there's a lot to it that, plays into our decision. It's not just her. It's also kind of, I don't want to say the product, but we've seen a lot of kids actually come from homeschool backgrounds, and they have a good way of seeing the culture, good worldview, and they come out actually maybe a year or two ahead of some of their peers. So you probably know a homeschool kid. They're a little weird. They're a little different. Even my daughter, she's a little different, but we all are. And I think the cool thing is that they have a way to kind of find what they like to do and not feel like they have to do this one systematic approach. So that's a long answer.
Do you feel, and I'm just talking in general here, maybe you want to be specific, do you think some of your kids are better situated for that homeschool learning environment than maybe your other kids?
Well, it's interesting. There's actually one family, I can't say too much because it's a military family, but it's a military family. They travel a lot. But they have been traveling around the world using this curriculum. So they've been in the States, they've been overseas in Asia, on base. I'm not sure if you're familiar. It's sort of a different world to me too, but when you're on base, you're still interacting with people that look like you a lot of the time. It's not until you get off base that you actually are interacting with the actual culture. That's my understanding of it. So I think military families, there's a couple of military families in the curriculum in our little school that have been with this on their track. I mean, some of them got 3-4 kids, and all of them are doing the same thing. And it's pretty easy for a mom to be able to kind of keep track of her kids while they're going from base to base or from country to country. So, I mean, I think it's a bonus. Actually, I think it's a necessity because you can lose track. I think every state's not different. Every school division's not the same. I mean, you go from Charlottesville to Albemarle, and you're talking night and day. I worked with both. I was an after-school tutor in the city, and then I worked as a tech guy. I was an AV tech guy for the county. And even within the county, I could go to Brownsville and Red Hill, and then I can go to Meriwether Lewis, and it's night and day. The PTO would put out money to get stuff for the parents and the students, while one place might not be able to afford a little bit extra something for the kids in ways of technology or a system that they might need. So certain parents, I mean, the Crozake, the kid that was in the public school, he loves it too. I mean, they're all coming from different backgrounds, but I think they're finding what they need in it because it's flexible to them. So, I mean, that's what everything should be anyways. I think any system we're a part of it should be flexible to kind of bring the best out in us. So, that's where I could put it.
On where Alan, our guest, guys. Alan Scottish Shortbreads. How's the mindset shifted as the co-owner of a small business in 2021 with vaccinations coming out quickly? I mean, you have some doctors saying that we're going to meet demand for people who want a vaccine in March. They're getting to the pharmacies, so they're getting out quicker. Have you changed your thinking for Q2, Q3, Q4, and your family business?
Well, I mean, that's an interesting thing. I mean, we've been able to we're keeping up with the news. We're keeping up with what's going on in the media. I mean, the one thing that doesn't change is that I'm baking shortbread. If there's nothing, it doesn't matter if the wind's blowing that way, wind's blowing that way, in terms of politics or what's going on with how they're rolling out, how the healthcare is handling their end. I have people that I interact with that are having to deal with this stuff. You know what I'm saying? So in terms of my clients, my vendors, they're the ones that are actually, quote unquote, on the front lines. I'm typically a wholesale guy, so I'm blessed to actually not have to have a storefront. I can't imagine what it's like. I got a lot of friends that are running these businesses. They've got to have employees there, and they've got to have employees that are happy to be there too. They don't want to feel like they're putting themselves in danger. They've got families, kids, etc. And then on top of that, they've got to deal with customers. Some customers are falling on different sides of the fence. Some customers, I'll be straight up. If you go to Florida and Tennessee, I've heard people that are traveling, you go down there, you don't have to wear a mask. You know what I'm saying? And or if you go from one coffee shop to the other in Charlottesville even, you might not have to wear a mask when you sit down. You know what I'm saying? So I'm dealing with those conversations. Me personally, it's easier for me. We made sure we were PPE ready, all that stuff. Got everything straightened out with how we were, handling everything and how we're wearing a mask and all that good stuff, and we're doing our deliveries because we want to respect our customers and clients. They know that we're doing what we have to do to respect their, our business and their family. You know what I'm saying? So we do what we have to do, and I just keep rolling shortbread. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, it don't matter what's going on. I got 4 girls that count on me. You know what I'm saying? And I got some people that work with me that are appreciative of the fact that I also take care of myself and I take care of them. And we're one little family, and that's all we do. We just roll bread.
Okay, I'm going to throw this to you here. We got, I think the second part of this year is going to be gangbusters. I think a good portion of Americans have been stockpiling money, and we are chomping at the bit to get out and spend that money and to see people again and interact and socialize with people. How do you feel about that statement? And the second part of the question is, if you agree with that statement, how do you think that's going to impact your business?
Well, the cool thing, so first thing, Amazon, our website, all that, we saw an uptick in the way people spent their money. So I can imagine the mothers, the ones with kids running around. Alcohol sales have gone up, and sweet sales have gone up. So we're sort of in those categories where we're something that it's not a necessity, but you love to have it around.
Was last year your best year ever?
Hey, God is my witness. It was on point. Like,
it was your best year ever?
It was.
That's
it honestly
awesome.
Was. I'm
Congratulations.
running into other companies that are actually having the same kind of, they're looking at their numbers and like, wait, what? You know? Like, it is. And it's been people all over the country supporting. We got that good boost with QVC. So we got customers all over that have seen us on TV, that know us. And we've just been keeping up with our marketing. Untitled Show, NBC 29. I mean, it's been all over the place. It's like there's been a lot of favor shown to us. So that the quarter has been good to us. I do anticipate more spending. If I'm not mistaken, some people might have gotten some checks, a little stimulus here and there. So there's a little bit of money floating around. You're right. People are holding on to it. And people might not be able to still see their loved ones. So it's like Freshly and all these little, you can send meals and all that stuff. And people are, doing cards, you're doing wine, whatever you can send, they're going to send it. So we're in that category. We're just kind of right time, right place. And we're one of those things you can send. So people will still continue to get out. But if they can't go cross country to see their loved ones or go up 95 to New York or down to Florida, whatever it might be, they're going to send our shortbread. And it's been turning up in some interesting places. We found we get responses by way of email, and people say thank you, and they send love our way just for accommodating, because we write notes on cars. People want something sent, to their uncle, Eddie or something like that. We'll put a note in there. From their little niece Jessie or something like that. So it's cool to be a part of, people still keeping in touch. I do believe it's going to grow. I do believe we're only going to see more growth, and we're going to see some businesses stay alive. That's my hope, at least.
I think you're 100% right. All right, final question, and make sure you include how we can buy shortbread from you in this answer for us here. Have you and your beautiful wife Laura considered expanding the business in some capacity with either a new product or a new item or some kind of expansion of the brand? And if so, why? Because from my standpoint here, your brand is buttoned up. You guys are selling all over the world, and the demand seems to be there.
Yeah. So the first, I hope I can stay on track. We got this new product here. This one's called, I don't know if I'm doing it right, Celebration Shortbread. I might not be in focus, but this guy right here is it's apricot and some cinnamon in there, and that came about because of Laura's family connection with the Harneys. Harney and Sons teas, they're worldwide, and so that's actually been driving a lot of our creativity. We hadn't come out with new flavors for a while until we got connected with them, or should I say reconnected, because Laura's grandmother was friends with John Harney, and he'd be out there hustling tea just like she was hustling shortbread, And so this actual shortbread has some of their tea in it, so it's infused with their product, and we also put them on the box. So Laura, she knew, she went to Glasgow, visited home, saw all the people that she loved there, all her family. This stuff is everywhere. So you go to a cash register, you go to a coffee shop, you go anywhere. You go to a gas station, they have shortbread everywhere. So we were thinking at some point in time, once we got our kind of bearings about us, we were going to come up with new flavors as we went along. Now, it's been so cool to work with them because they've got millions of flavors of teas, and we said, okay, what would this go with, with what, or what would this taste like? And it'd be so easy to look at some of the stuff they have and be like, you know what, that would go good with shortbread. Let's do it this way. And we just test it. We make it in our little kitchen. We're flexible. We make it work. And it's really cool to see how their tea, our shortbread is flying off of their shelves worldwide, their websites, gift baskets, all that stuff. And so because of that, there's Earl Grey, lavender, I think we've done lemon, that celebration with, celebrating a new year, like, hey guys, we're with you. Celebrate a new year. Celebrate a 2021. 2020 was tough. We're going to celebrate, 2021. We won. We're winning. You know what I'm saying? We're winning as a people. We're going to win. We're going to be unified. We're going to be stronger than ever. Our communities are going to win, and we're here for you. So that's a part of it. This is all of us. It's not just us. It's their family, too. So it's a collab. And we're actually doing a new flavor. It's going to come out. We already got the design. We've been testing the flavors. It's cherry chocolate shortbread.
Whoa!
Cherry chocolate.
That sounds delicious.
Cherry flavor with chocolate chips in there. Yes, so that's going to be on point. And then just a part of that, just with any business, we saw in Whole Foods way back in the day, we were just copying Tate's and all these other companies. As you do, when you're doing something, you look at a little blueprint and you kind of tweak it. You make it your own. You flip it. You know what I'm saying? And we wanted to say, okay, they have different flavors, different colors, different designs. They got the base recipe, and they just tweak it just a little bit. Give you a little something different. And so our traditional shortbread still sells really well. But when you go on the Harney's website, people are buying the shortbread. And we're going on our website, AlanScottishShortbread.com. I almost forgot. And they're pairing it with the stuff they like. Or we have it seasonal. So the celebration obviously is kind of cool because it's winter. They're out here playing on the snow. You can see my dude right there on the snowboard. You know what I'm saying? That's me. So we have the seasons incorporated with the product. As you change into the seasons, the flavor kind of changes so it matches that. And then the next thing that's happening for us is the cherry flavor, cherry chocolate flavored shortbread, cherry blossom. So a little bit of cherry blossom green tea in there, which is cool. And that kind of goes with a little Japanese feel to it. And so, the artwork, all original. I can't forget to shout out to Susan Chie. She's been doing our art for us for a long time. She's done 5 or 6 boxes for us. Shout out to Wifey. Obviously, she's like, she's my girl. She makes it all happen. I'm telling you, she's a mastermind. She's a business genius. And so we come up with these ideas together. And then I got a team of people that are with me from the beginning. Lois and Jerry McGill, they've been with me since day one. We were baking 6 trays at a time at the markets. I remember we was talking about it today, actually, how we started. So everything's been a progression. It's been, okay, can we bake this? Can we make this happen? How much can we do at a time? What would this flavor do? What's the cost of this? How is it going to sell? Is it going to sell in wintertime? Is it going to sell in springtime? What are people going to do with this? You know what I'm saying? And, how are they going to receive this? What are they going to do with it? Are they going to feel like this is Valentine's because it's a red box? Or are they going to feel like it's spring because it's a green box? You can see the thing over my shoulder that ended up being a springtime box, even though that was our box from the get-go. So also shout out to Bob. Love you, Bob. Anyway, so my people.
AlanScottishShortbread.com.
Yeah, that's it. It's a family ordeal, and everything is it's working as we can work. So we're never going to do anything that puts our family in jeopardy, puts us in a time crunch. We're always one cool thing. Sorry if I digress, but one cool thing we've noticed in this season is our sales have gone up, I believe, because people are actually taking time to rest. And that is actually something that is unheard of in our day and age. And I believe we're kind of turning back the wheels a little bit, turning back the clock a little bit. And, I don't know, Laura said something about a hashtag. There's a tea time hashtag out there. And people are watching that show on Netflix, the English show. You know what I'm talking about? It's a show that just came out, and it's set in England. And so people are actually having tea time. They're breaking up their China sets and having tea time again. And so there's like little stuff like that that's happening in our culture where we're making the best of this situation and we're moving into some rhythms, I believe, that are better for us. So whatever time it is, Shortbread is very flexible, but we're thankful that people are kind of honoring the families, honoring their loved ones, sending it, spending more time, and we're thankful to be a part of what other people are already incorporating in their lives.
I like that trend that's happening. More family than ever. His name is Anwar Allen. It's Allen Scottish Shortbreads. Check them out online. They are A-plus people, as local gets, and just a fantastic business to support, guys, with your dollars. Thank you, Anwar, thank you for the shortbread that you dropped off today. We love it. My kid and wife love your shortbread. Like, love your shortbread. Anytime you want to come on, seriously, anytime you want to come on, man, show is yours.
I love it. And, hey, I want to say thank you for doing what you do. The world needs good news, and they need real news. They need truth. And so, thanks for doing what you do. You add another voice for people to kind of listen to. And so it makes it so they have something like, you could be a light in the dark for some people that, that are not knowing how to kind of perceive the world they're living in. So you really are doing a service to the community there.
Thank you for saying that. Thank you. That means a lot. Thank you for saying that. Say hi to Laura and everybody, and we'll touch base soon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
You have a good one, Anwar.
All right, man. Love you.
Same to you, man. Same to you. That guy is A-plus people. A-plus people. Allen'sScottishShortbread.com. Allen'sScottishShortbread.com. Support a business that is making this community better. Dude, they're going global with that brand. And we have another guy who's global on the line right here, in Alex Erpy. And this guy knows everybody in this community. You know Anwar.
Working out who should we bring on the show, some other names, and I'm like, well, I know this guy that goes to the church with a lot of my closest friends.
Okay.
Right? And I've met him, and he's got this shortbread company that he does with his beautiful wife. And so I logged on today, and I'm like, dang, Jerry went and scooped me there.
So you guys were brainstorming Anwar and Laura, and they're on the show with you today.
It's amazing. It's amazing. But such beautiful people. Such nice people. Their shortbread obviously is fantastic, and such a great story. The hard work they put into that to grow where it is now.
Give us some ideas into your social circle, Alex, because you know everybody. One of the things that I really like about you is you're very consistent with your mood and your demeanor and your personality. What you see is what you get, and what you get is the same person every day, which makes you really likable and approachable. Your father obviously has that quality as well, where he's extremely likable and easy to get along with. How do you go about your everyday with meeting people, getting to know people, because you always are able to remember something about the people you interact with, and then you're able to convey what you remember to other people in positive fashion, which is a testament to you.
I appreciate that. It's just, you know what? I've always grown up with the notion of, well, when you grow up in a Cuban and Italian family, there's always that sort of welcoming that you meet people, and sometimes it can even be jarring, because like sometimes when we have people over, they're just in the family instantly. There's no let me feel you out, get to know you, fancy. Then it's like if you come over to the Erpy house, you're going to get the Erpy family. Like that's how it goes. And it's just I've always grown up with the notion that I like to find the best in people, and when I meet them, I love to know the things that make them happy, the things that they enjoy doing, the great things they've done. And I'm not delusional, like we're all flawed, but we're all beautiful. Like God loves each and every one of us despite our flaws. So if I'm going to see people as God sees them, I have to see the good in them. I have to see the amazing things that they're doing. And so, I mean, Charlottesville is an amazing place like that you meet people and you find out that everyone else you know may also know them. It's for a town this big, it's amazing how small it is.
So small.
You know, which is nice. I really do it's one of the reasons when we moved back to the East Coast from California, where we had been living in a very small town, even like 4,000 people as opposed to Charlottesville. The one thing my father said is that we are not going back to New York City. Because we wanted just something in between, something that was really perfect when we found UVA and just stayed right on. I mean, we went to we came to Charlottesville looking at the university, because my father, always the great mind that he is, was I want my sons to be in-state tuition. So we are moving to wherever they are going to intend to go to college, which is very smart. Which, I mean, especially given the disparities and what that costs. But
because you went to UVA.
I did go to UVA.
Yeah.
I did the PVCC UVA route, which I highly recommend and love. It's just, PVCC is such a great institution, and to go from there to UVA is fantastic.
What is the Irpy house for a stranger that's coming into the Irpy house and you say gets thrown straight into the Irpy family? What does that mean?
That means when you're in there, the jokes are there. Everyone's going to be around the kitchen helping to either make something, to cook. If my mom calls for assistance, you need to do this, you need to taste this. We are going to taste it in front of people. If we're baking, I am going to stick my finger in the batter and taste the batter. And it doesn't matter if a friend is coming over for the first time. I'm not letting that batter go to waste in the kitchen sink. So it's always the way it is. I mean, Italians are famous for that, in the sense of when they always joke. A lot of Italian comedians will joke that, especially in New York, Italian American, you always have a cake ready in case someone comes over. And it used to be those Entenmann's cakes, the little ones you buy in the grocery store. But as if someone knocked on the doorbell without, just showed up, they were going to come in and they were going to be there for hours. You were going to offer them food. You were going to offer them espresso. And they were going to be there for as long as they wanted to be there. So there's just that kind of hospitality of everyone that comes in is your guest and you treat them like family.
That sounds like my kind of place. I particularly enjoy the Intimates chocolate donuts. But that sounds like my kind of family. He is the CEO of Emergent Financial Services. His father and Alex host a phenomenal show called Today y Mañana. It airs Thursdays at 10:15 a.m. on the I Love Seaville network. And the show is rounding into form. And I was going to say, how do you top Fernando Garay on last week's show? And you have a show lined up for Thursday that is going to be just as good, Alex.
It's going to be incredible. So we've got Johnny Ornelas. He's been a friend of the program from day one. And it's another fantastic story. I actually was in a small little Spanish club at PVCC that was led by his wife, Philadelphia, back in the day when I was freshman in PVCC. And then it turns out, and now he's been a great friend of the program. He's always giving us great insights, saying hi. So we're going to have him on to talk about what he does for the community. And then we're going to have Fernando Dison, and he is from Little Manila. Was Little Manila Catering. Now he's got Little Manila. He's going to open up in Dairy Market, which is really exciting. And it's always amazing. He catered for Forward Adelante, the premier Latino networking group here in Charlottesville. He catered for our Chuck Lewis Passion Award, I think it was 6 years ago, in 2015, when he was food truck, Little Manila Catering. And I remember bringing back, there was so much leftover food, but it was so good that I was like, I am bringing this up to my family in New York. We were leaving for New York the next day. I'm like, we are packing this all up, and we are bringing it up there because everybody needs to taste how good this is. And it's just incredible to see him 6 years later go from food truck catering to now he's going to have his place in the dairy market. So it's going to be really exciting to have him on and see what he's been up to and what his plans are.
Give the viewers and listeners some insight into Johnny Ornelas. Because we're talking another multi-brand business owner, small business owner that's having a huge impact on this community.
Oh, I mean, everything he does, it's amazing. Because he's with Guadalajara. Right. He's got his place there.
He's got
and,
Guadalajara. Guadalajara on JPA. Yeah.
JPA. Yeah. Yep. That's the one. And so but what's funny? Sometimes you have people when they own a restaurant, he's always thinking of giving back. Because he reached out to me saying, "Hey, someone got in touch with me in terms of ways that you can, like opportunities the IRS is giving you if you've had a tough time revenue-wise with certain employee tax credits. And so why don't you guys share that on the show?" And that's such a wonderful thing to say, hey, you know what, I got this tip. Let's share it with some other restaurateurs Latino restaurateurs in the community. And so we shared it last week in English and Spanish.
And he expanded his brand. He added a new brand to his restaurant. El Mariachi in Zion's Crossroads.
Yes. I was trying to remember the name, El Mariachi, which is going to be really exciting. We're going to be excited to ask him about that one and where he's going, where he's thinking of going, what his views are on the future. Because it's always that positivity, that growth, that expansion. Because, a lot of our story so far has been, there's tough times, right? There's challenges ahead, but you have to have the hope and confidence in what you do to be able to push forward and say, I can do this. I can grow. I can do better. I can bring more food and joy and services to people that could really use them. And it even means I have to figure out new ways to do it. Even here at Emergent, we're always thinking, okay, we can't meet people in the way we used to be doing it. What do we do? How do we still make sure that the people who need help and who need services or who need just the joy of a good Mexican lunch, really, sometimes there's nothing better than just saying, I need to go out and have Mexican food for lunch, because then I will feel good all afternoon.
Well, Johnny's got some of the best. So one more in about 30 seconds here. Today y mañana, Thursday at 10:15, you and Xavier have a fantastic show lined up. Give us another tease on what we can expect for Thursday.
So we're going to have, as always, some financial topics. We always, at the beginning, my dad and I, we always like to bounce it back and forth and really see, okay, what's going on in the news. We might touch a little bit on what should we be thinking of in terms of long-term saving investors, or if you're a small business owner, how do we sort of approach what's going on? Because, markets are volatile. When they're at the top, people get really nervous. But then again, there's also that sort of upswell of, wow, everything's going up. Do I go in? Do I stay out? So there's always, my dad and I, we love just charting. And really, when you see us at the beginning of Today Mañana, that first 15, 20 minutes, that is literally the Emergent conference room table on Monday mornings. We started our Monday morning meetings with what's the plan for this week. And at the end of Monday morning meeting, it just evolves into, okay, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? Just back and forth. So really, you really do see what you see on Today Mañana at the beginning is pulled right out of what we actually do. My dad and I really taught that way when we're with our brothers at the table in Emergent's office trying to figure out how to approach the markets for our clients.
I love it. He's the CEO of Emergent Financial Services. His name is Alex Erpe. Alex and Xavier Erpe host Today y Mañana, Thursdays at 10:15 a.m. on the I Love Seville network. This Thursday show is going to be dynamite. Make sure you tune in. Alex, we cannot wait to see you on Thursday. I cannot wait for the interview with Johnny. I love Johnny Ornelas. Johnny supported the telethon. I just love this guy. Thank you for getting quality guests, and thank you for creating a quality program.
Absolutely. And I want to echo Anwar. Thank you for what you do. Really, it's such a great, positive show. Brings hope, brings joy, and the telethon was fantastic. So great to see the success of that.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you so much. I'll see you Thursday, my friend.
See you Thursday. Take care.
Alex Erpe, guys, CEO, Emergent Financial Services, a trusted name in the finance game. Emergent Financial Services, family-owned business with high integrity people behind the business. Emergent Financial Services. Couple things before we get out of here. I'm sure you watched Virginia take it on the chin against Florida State last night. The Seminoles shellacked the Wahoos. Virginia cut it down to 7 points in the second half, thanks to Kie Clark taking over the first 5 minutes of the second stanza. But then Florida State's talent was too much, and the Seminoles ended up winning by what, 21 points? So we are left with this question. How good is this Virginia men's basketball team? Are they 7 in the nation like their record indicated going into that matchup in Tallahassee? I'm not sure they're 7, but I think this team is still loaded with talent. Should we be concerned that they haven't really beaten anyone? The best win they have on their record is what? The Clemson Tigers in Death Valley? That win comes with an asterisk because it was Clemson's first game back from a COVID pause that was over a week long. And Clemson looked stagnant in that game. So how good is Virginia? We don't know how good Virginia is. We're going to find out. Are they a Final Four team? Who knows? But Tony's definitely got to get them coming out in the first half of ball games with much more intensity and fire than they showed last night. The first half, the first 10 minutes, the first 12 minutes of that game, the game was lost then. They came out flat. It looked like some of the guys didn't get off the bus. I still believe in this team. It's one of the deepest ball clubs Tony Bennett has ever had. There's a lot of talent on this roster. Do we have that go-to dynamite scorer on the roster on the team? Probably not. And you saw it last night with Sam Hauser and Jay Huff. The jumper wasn't falling for neither Sam nor Jay last night. And that's the tough aspect of being a jump shooting team. Sometimes the jumpers don't go. That's the show. Thank you for joining us. Thank you to Anwar Allen for coming on the show, Alex Erpe. Thank you to Judah Wickower, our director, for being on the program, being the best director out there. Tonight, watch the city council meeting with a revamp of the credit card policy. We'll see what government's going to do to build trust. Lloyd was clear. We got to build trust again. It starts tonight on the dais with 5 councilors as they try to unify the city and be the North Star we need. Watch it, 6:30 p.m. It's streamed live. My name is Jerry Miller. This is the I Love CVille Show.